What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports, and I'm back to you guys with another video. Before I begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, so please help me achieve that goal by liking the video and subscribing, and also hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. And let's get into it. So I'm here with my AFC South 2019 NFL draft grades. Now, for those of you guys who don't want to watch the video entirely and you just want to watch your team and see what grade I gave your team, the timestamps to each team's grade will be down in the description down below. So you can go check that out so you can just skip to your team or you can just watch the whole entire video. But let's get into it. So the first team that we have, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had a really good draft. And I mean, it all started when they got Josh Allen. Josh Allen was supposed to be a top five pick. Nobody expected him to drop out of the top five. He was pretty much a guaranteed lock in the top five, but the Oakland Raiders ended up taking Cleveland Farrell. The New York Jets went Quentin Williams before the Raiders pick, and Tampa went Devin White. So the next team that was up was the New York Giants, and the New York Giants, of course, went quarterback Daniel Jones, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dave Gettleman, take notes because this is an example of taking the best player available. The Jacksonville Jaguars took the best player available, which was edge rusher Josh Allen, and I really like this pick because he's an upgrade from Dante Fowler because Dante Fowler was a pretty good pass rusher. He's now with the LA Rams, of course, but Josh Allen is an upgrade from Dante Fowler simply for the fact that not only can he rush the passer, but he can also cover as well. And Dante Fowler wasn't really that good in pass coverage like how Josh Allen is. He can guard tight ends, he can guard halfbacks. Just a very good pick. And round two, they also took Jawan Taylor, who surprisingly dropped out of the first round also, and they ended up taking him. They traded up with Oakland to get him. And they took Josh Oliver. Now, Josh Oliver, the tight end out of San Jose State that they took in the third round, reminds me a lot of Jimmy Graham. Very athletic, very good pass catcher, not really that good as a blocker. They also took Quincy Williams from Murray State, Raquel Armstead, who is a fullback slash running back. And they took Garner Minshew in the sixth round, and that's pretty interesting. I'm eager to see if he'll make the roster or not. So the grade I'm going to get the Jacksonville Jaguars is A minus. Like I said, Dave Gettleman, take notes of what the Jacksonville Jaguars did with Josh Allen because that is a real example of taking the best player available. I mean, now they already have Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, Taven Bryan. I hope I pronounced his name right, who they drafted last year. Now you got Josh Allen, you got Jalen Ramsey, of course, you got AJ Boye. That defense is going to be the same level it was last season, the season before, and I'm expecting big things out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The next team that we have are the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the Indianapolis Colts is another team that had a very great draft, and they didn't have a first round pick. In the second round, they got Rocky Sin, the cornerback out of Temple, who was a very good press corner. Cornerback was very much needed for the Indianapolis Colts. They also took Ben Bangu from TCU. He's the edge rusher out of TCU. And they also took Paris Campbell, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. He should be a pretty good complement to T.Y. Hilton. I don't think he's an outside receiver. He's a slot wide receiver, has a running back body, very, very good wide receiver for Ohio State. And I think he's going to make an immediate impact for the Indianapolis Colts. They also took a linebacker out of Stanford. Marvell Tell was an interesting pick because he played safety. He was inconsistent for most of the USC's season this past year, but he picked it up in the second half of the season. But this guy has a lot of potential if he's able to get some good development, a good coaching staff, which the Indianapolis Colts has. And if he's able to be consistent on the NFL level, he's going to have a pretty good career. So the grade I'm going to give the Indianapolis Colts is a. And this was a very good draft. And this team didn't even have a first round pick. General manager of the Indianapolis Colts, Chris Ballard, did an outstanding job. They drafted all their needs. They got better. I really, really like the Rocky Sun and Paris Campbell picks. Those are two guys who are going to come and contribute right away. I'm probably going to draft Paris Campbell on my fantasy team this year. Don't tell nobody. Just a bunch of good, solid picks. They didn't reach for nobody. Everybody they got was pretty much projected to go that round. Very good pick. And the Indianapolis Colts are a better football team than what they were 4 days before. The next team that we have the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans barely missed the playoffs last year. They lost that win go home game with the Indianapolis Colts, and they didn't really have Marcus Mariota. Now, this is a big year for Marcus Mariota. He's in a contract year along with Jameis Winston, and a big reason why Marcus Mariota hasn't really had the success that he had his rookie year, although he has led the Tennessee Titans to a playoff win, has been the lack of the wide receiving core. I mean, his rookie year was the only time they actually had a wide receiving core, or absolutely solid wide receiving core that his rookie season. But after that, their wide receiving core has been pretty much below average. And this draft, they addressed that. I mean, in the second round, they took A.J. Brown, who was an absolute steal because he was a first round talent that fell all the way in the second round, which pretty much wasn't really that big of a surprise considering all the edge rushers and talented defensive linemen that were taken in the first round. The Tennessee Titans also got Jeffrey Simmons, who I really, really like a lot. I like that pick because this guy is a top five talent in the NFL draft without a doubt. And they got this dude with the 19th overall pick because of some character issues, some off the field issues or whatnot. I'm pretty sure they're not going to have to worry about that. This is a guy who does a lot for the community, helps out a lot. So I'm pretty sure he learned from his past mistake. Nate Davis is a gem, in my opinion. He's going to be a very solid starter for the Tennessee Titans. DeAndre Walker is also a guy I'm very high on. They took him at round five, the edge rusher out of Georgia. So the Tennessee Titans, also like the Indianapolis Colts and Jacksonville Jaguars, had a pretty productive draft. And the grade that I'm going to give them is a B plus. The Tennessee Titans had a very solid draft. Jeffrey Simmons is going to have a big impact year right away because he's that good on that defensive line for the Tennessee Titans, along with Jarrell Casey, which the Tennessee Titans actually have a pretty underrated front seven. Everybody talks about all these good front sevens like Jacksonville Jaguars and whatnot, but the Tennessee Titans front seven is pretty doggone good and it's pretty underrated. And Mike Vrabel, I'm expecting a big year out of him and Marcus Mariota. And the last team that we have on this list are the Houston Texans. So in the first round, the Houston Texans, I really liked their draft. They took Titus Howard, the offensive tackle out of Alabama State, which was pretty much the number one need that the Houston Texans needed to address was that offensive line position, especially at the offensive tackle spot. Titus Howard is going to be a solid offensive lineman for the Houston Texans. And I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl caliber player in a year or two because this guy is very, very good. He's going to be an absolute stud. In the second round, they also took Lonnie Johnson, who was pretty much the most underrated cornerback in the SEC this past season. Even though he was playing on a very stout Kentucky defense with Josh Allen and a bunch of other players on that defense that got drafted as well. Lonnie Johnson, I expect him to be a day one starter. He's a good tackler. He's a good man to man corner. I'm very interested in seeing how good he's going to be with the Houston Texans this year. They also took Cahill Warren out of San Diego State. Now, I really like Cahill Warren. This guy is an underrated athlete. He was an underrated guy. I actually had him mocked to the Denver Broncos. I had a fourth round grade on him, but I mean, he could be a third rounder also. I'm not going to criticize that. He's going to be another guy who is going to contribute right away to that Houston Texans offense. And I think he's going to have a pretty good season also. So I really like what the Houston Texans did this year in the draft. And I think the grade the Houston Texans deserve, I'm going to give them a B plus. Now, a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people are going to give them a B plus. Last time I checked, somebody gave them a freaking B minus, talking about Titus Howard was a reach. Titus Howard was not a reach. This guy is very, very good, and I had a first round grade on him also. I didn't think he would go in the first round because of the amount of talent that was on the defensive side of the ball. Thought he would probably be a second rounder, but he is without a doubt a first round talent, and he is going to be, like I said earlier, a Pro Bowl caliber player quickly for the Houston Texans in about a year or two. And I think he's going to be very solid. Also with Lonnie Johnson, who is a very good man to man corner. He should be able to start right away for the Houston Texans. They got very good value without really having to trade up for anybody. And they didn't really have a lot of picks this year, also. So this is it for this video, my AFC South NFL draft grades for 2019. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe.